Guten Morgen, which means good morning, I think in German, but it could be wrong. Good morning anyway. So happy to be here with you today. It's funny, even though the sun's not out, it feels bright in some way. It's a bit overcast, which is kind of a nice gift in the way that it's not crazy hot. Thank you, ma'am. So, in case you didn't know, I'm a girl boss. I don't really know what that entails or the job description, but we'll go with it. So, I titled today, Life Isn't Fair. Because it's kind of not. And that's okay. I think it is a very interesting time in life, and I think it's difficult to ignore all of the conflicting ideas and emotions and things that are happening. There's literally people in our country, all in one country. There are people in massive states of fear. There are people who feel completely untouched by this circumstance. There are some who have loved ones who have died as a result of an illness that is going around right now. And there are people who don't know anyone who has been affected by it at all. That's quite the contrast for us all to be dealing with. And one thing I think that is important is that we continue to seek ways to be connected, and we continue to seek ways to come together. I had a friend point out, and I'm very grateful he did, that regardless of which side you stand on, and he didn't put it like this is sort of my summary of our conversation. Regardless of which side you stand on, that's the problem. Is all too often when we have opinions and thoughts about things, we pick a side. There's a Republican and Democrat side of things. There is conservative and liberal sides. And I think while it is healthy to cultivate your own opinions and your own thoughts on things, I think the truth is, for most of us, however uncomfortable this might make you feel or however much resistance it might stir up within you, most of us believe what we were taught to believe. And or most of us are really affected by our own biases. And so when we do research or we look for things or we try to find the truth, we're actually seeking the truth through filters of that which we already believe. And that impacts the information we will find, because it's no different than the notion of the mindset that you carry is going to attract that very same thing in your life. So, for example, if I choose to believe that life is a gift and that people are good and that abundance flows, and I really believe that deep down and I live that way, well, I'm going to experience a lot of those things. If I think that life is unfair, bad shit always happens to me. I almost said bad shit. No pun intended. But maybe bad things always happen to me. And nothing ever goes my way and I'm not lucky. Well, then that's very likely the experience I'm going to have. But it works the same in times like these, when we all have an idea of what we think is going on or what might be happening. We all have our own opinions. And in truth, the way that we operate as human beings, those opinions that we have and the things that we search for are mostly going to be in an attempt to support what we believe because we want to be right. And I'm guilty of this too. I do my best to try to stay in the middle, but if I'm honest, I have thoughts about things going on, and I have views, and I have opinions, and they're probably based on things that I've seen and heard that continue to agree with these opinions and beliefs. And I think it's very easy to get lost in being right. And I think in a good way, it comes from everybody really wanting to seek the truth. I don't think that's everyone's case. I think there are some people who seek to exploit people in this time. I think they're opportunistic people navigating this space who maybe could care less about the truth and more about their own personal gain. But I think for a majority of people that I've connected with and talked to, most everybody wants the truth, or to find the truth. And I know I do. I know I would like to know the truth. But I think what I'm learning is that I don't know that any of us are really ever going to find the truth, the exact truth. I think that it lies somewhere jumbled inside of all of these facts and videos and posts and information put out. And so I think that can be a really tough pill to swallow. For me, it feels like it. It feels a little bit challenging to think, there's so much information out there. How do I find the truth? Because in my heart, I want to know what the truth is. Even if it means I'm wrong about certain things, I'd still like to know the truth. But I think what I'm having to find or accept or surrender to, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, as in yesterday's meditation and conversation, is that I might not ever know the truth. And so where does that leave me? And I think I look at so many of these moments in our history, and I think about, it's really weird, I'm going to get emotional, not sure why, the amount of division that happens because of these things. Families, friends, loved ones, all of a sudden, because we have different opinions, start really separating from one another. We cut people out of our lives, and it's like we have this deep intention of trying to work together, to come together. You know, I think I want to believe everybody is genuinely good. I know that's not true. And that's not comfortable, but it's true. There's a lot of people who have ill intentions as well. But I want to believe for those of us that do have good intentions, we want to come together. We want to find a way to resolve challenge or pain together. I know I do. I definitely don't want separation. I don't want challenges that our people, our nation, our country, our world, our species go through to rip us apart. And I see so much of that happening. So I think when I say life isn't fair, what I'm sort of referencing is that we might not know the truth. We might not find the truth. And so where does that leave us? Well, I think that leaves us coming back to here, coming back to finding our truth within ourselves. I think it's such a temptation to seek outside of ourselves for answers. And I admit that I get caught up in that sometimes too. Trying to do the research or seek out what is the truth, what's really going on. And I think we have to be careful with that. I think we really have to remember what this experience is all about, our own individual experience for the sake of the collective. And so I think what it comes down to is not about being right. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's not about trying to figure out all of the agendas at play. And there are many. I think it's really about finding the truth within yourself. And as much as that sounds like a beautiful statement, and I do believe that it is, it can also be a dangerous one. Because again, like I said at the beginning, we have to be mindful that we have opinions, thoughts, and beliefs. Not to navigate to be right, but to really seek truth. And I really do believe that the more time we spend here, and by here I mean in meditation, in breath, in really searching to better know ourselves, to show up better in this world, I think we get less caught up in all of the things around us and really more focused on how we show up and carry ourselves in this life. See, I have a belief also that we can impact the greater good not by using picket signs and protesting and arguing and choosing sides. And I think although that it is necessary that we stay awake and vigilant about things, I think that the best way that we can impact the whole, our whole selves, our whole microeconomic system of people that we know and love, the whole as in our country and the whole as in humanity, is to really be responsible for ourselves. And I come back to this and I get caught up in so many things, and maybe you can relate too, that in the midst of all of this, we are on this journey and we have this desire to know ourselves, to know source, and sometimes there's so many moving parts around us, we get distracted. I know I do, and all of a sudden something will pull me off to one side, and it's difficult to see and hear with our senses, to feel all of the things outside of us and be unaffected, but to remember to come back to what is within. And I don't mean that in such a broad stroke as it might sound, but I really mean come back to your connection to, we might call it your intuition, and your connection to source, your connection to God. Really quieting down to listen, even quieting down your own mind with all of the ideas and things running around that pull us apart from being deeply centered and grounded in our truth. And so that's part of what I think this whole experience is teaching me, is to remember what's most important. And by learning all of the things that I can learn on one side or the other, or everything in between, what's most important is that I stay grounded and focused on my path, focused on my gifts and my abilities, nurturing those and sharing them with others so that we can all come closer together, not so that we can separate and be pushed apart. And I think we need that more than ever. And it can be challenging, and we are emotional beings, so we can be impacted and affected by all of the things around us and the people too, everyone and their opinions. But I think in times like these, what I'm most reminded of is the importance of coming together and really connecting together. And so, nope, life ain't fair. There's all kinds of differences and experiences. I mean, I'm sitting here in the grass in my backyard, and across the world, someone's being tortured or something awful. It doesn't seem fair. But I can't change that in this moment. What I can do is take responsibility for my life and do my best in my life. So sometimes we can get stuck on these really challenging parts of reality. And I think it's really important to come back to being grounded. This is why I'm really grateful for meditation. Come back to our breath. Come back to our connection to source. And I think the best thing we can do is be responsible for our own sense and being of love and the way that we show up in the world and give that to the world. So today will be about that. is regardless of all of the challenges happening around us, there's a lot of people experiencing a lot of different things, that we focus on responsibility for ourselves. So let's do that today. Let's focus on our responsibility and our purpose, and how we can utilize our awareness and insights to elevate our frequency in life. Y'all hear me use these terms a lot, and what I mean is, on a very vague scale, do you show up with intention and purpose? And are you doing what you're doing on purpose, with love, and with an honest intention of being your very best self? Or do you show up careless and reckless? Do you show up selfish? Are you always seeking to just serve yourself? And of course, there's a wide spectrum. But I think our aim to show up selflessly and with a great deal of love sort of minimizes all of those differences and discrepancies that exist in tough times. So today, we are going to breathe and meditate and really seek to find that space within ourselves, regardless of our opinions and thoughts on anything going on, so that we can really focus on how to come together instead of how to create further division. So let's do that. As always, I'm going to be open-hearted and open-handed, sitting upright nice and tall to really allow the energy to flow through me from top to bottom. And again, sit up tall, pull your shoulders back, not just today in meditation, but always. Surrender to the things that you can't control and really receive what you need to be the best version of yourself today and every day. So let's open up our hands, open up our hearts. Wherever you're at watching this, I hope more than anything you can just take the time to go inside a little bit, to turn off the things around you, if that's possible for you, and to really take a moment to tune in. You'll never know the gift of really dialing in. You'll never know the gift of slowing down and connecting to your breath. You'll never know how powerful it is in your life if you don't do it. So breathe deeply in, expanding in your diaphragm, then expanding in your chest, and then exhaling with your breath. Slow down, do 6 full seconds in. And then exhale, same 6 count. Breathe deeply in. And exhale. Just be connected to your breath for a moment. Just be present. Just focus on being right here. Right here in this moment. There is no threat. There's no need to embrace fear. Just be here. Breathe deeply in. Exhale, letting go. Take a moment to find your center. Just connect to your breath. Just notice what comes up when you aim to connect with your breath. Breathe deeply in. And exhale, letting go. Allow the body to relax. Allow the stress to dissipate. Allow the heart rate to slow down. Just connect to your breath. Just to be present. Not needing anything else. Breathe deeply in. And exhale. We're going to take one more final big deep breath, really welcoming in, openness, just deep connection to yourself. Just be with your breath. Breathe deeply in. And exhale, letting it all go. Very good. As always, let's create a space to breathe upon, to meditate upon, to connect upon, of gratitude beneath us, within us, above us, all around us. Whatever that process looks like for you. Imagine laying my hand down and just wiping it across everything beneath me, all around me, just covering my space and my being with gratitude. It's almost like a coat, putting a coat, a final coat on something of just gratitude, all around you and within you, from which to learn upon, the lenses from which we hear and we see and we feel that of gratitude. Opening up at the top of your head, maybe it is your third eye, maybe it is your very top chakra. Opening up and just expanding the visual of giving yourself permission to receive whatever insights may come. As we breathe deeply in, beginning our body scan at the top of the head, notice if there's any tension, any stress. Notice any feeling that comes. Is it getting easier for you to connect in with your body? Is there tension in the jaw? Is there clenching? Is there restricting? Has your head been hurting? Has there been too much focus on something outside of yourself? As we move down the body into the neck and the shoulders, are we sitting upright? Are they relaxed? Have we set down what we no longer need? Are we surrendering to what is not ours to control? Are we holding on to tension and worry, fear, trying to restrict and control, trying to carry loads and burdens that are not ours? As we move down the body into the arms, allow your arms to relax at your side and become aware. Are your arms holding anything in life? Are they squeezing? Or are they free and open to receive and to give love? Are we using them to control, or are we using them to surrender? Moving down the body as we breathe deeply in and expand in the chest, do we notice that breath feels easy and wanting, or is there any restriction when we breathe? Is our chest tight from fear or anxiety? Is our heart restricting from pain or wounds or hurt? Can we breathe in, expand, and open that up? As we move down the body into the stomach and the low back. How is everything operating in our body, in our physical body? Is the body operating the way that you would like it to, or is it communicating something different to you now? As we move down the body into the hips, into our root chakra, am I still holding on to anything that happened yesterday or before in my past? Am I holding on to any pain or trauma? Is that keeping me emotionally uprooted, inconsistent? Or am I able to really ground and connect my roots into the earth to feel stable and secure and safe with myself? Moving down the body into the legs. Are my legs operating the way they are meant to? Am I using them? Am I moving them? Am I sedentary too much? Just listen to what the body has to show, has to tell. Listen to what you feel. Breathe deeply in. Just become aware for a moment. Maybe any of the emotions that come up for you around our circumstance that our world is experiencing right now. Maybe first on a personal level. How are you feeling in this time? What are you noticing are the thought loops playing over and over again? Are you feeling frustrated, fearful? Are you feeling stressed? Are you worried about things that are going to happen or how things are going to change? Do you find a sense of trust, a sense of knowing that everything is going to be okay? Are you connecting with people who are operating out of fear? Now noticing those around you, are you connecting with people who are seeking to find peace within themselves and within their own lives? Are you seeking to connect with people who too choose fear and stress, who focus on everything outside of their control? Do you find yourself dialing into conversations and experiences that encourage that stress and that worry? Or are you intentionally connecting with others who constantly, gently guide you towards peace within yourself and around you? Are you seeking to be aware of what our world is going through, only to really focus on peace and love within yourself? Or in a matter of comparison that makes you feel better or worse? Ask yourself, what am I doing to be responsible right now in my life? What am I doing to do my part to better myself, to raise my frequency? Am I seeking to squeeze others and things around me so as to try to control them? Or am I choosing love? First to love myself, then to love others around me, so as to be an expression of love for humanity. Am I getting caught up in the concern of what I will do if this happens, or what I will do if that happens? Am I playing scenarios over and over again that keep me stuck? Am I choosing to breathe? Am I using my breath to center and ground myself, to connect with my emotions so as to learn from them, and then wisely choosing to respond to nurture what needs to be nurtured within and around me. Am I watering my roots by tending to the amount of emotions that come forward that don't align with my highest self? Am I taking care of those things? Am I listening to what they're teaching me? Or am I suppressing them, stuffing them, avoiding them? Am I focusing first on how I can do better and be a better version of myself? And that I am enough already, right where I am. Maybe you haven't considered that in a while, that right where you're at is enough. We don't have to obtain something to be enough. There is no accolade or award, no amount of praise or affirmation from outside of ourselves that warrants us enough. We are simply enough. It is in that knowing that we can operate from such a space of love, from such a frequency of love attuned to our truth. When we know we are enough, we seek to be better. When we feel we are lacking, we are operating from a space and a thought process and a feeling of scarcity, which causes us to choose things in a restrictive manner and from a sense of lack rather than from a sense of abundance. What if I consider I am enough, and so I can do this. I am enough, and so I can do that. I am enough, and so I can be this. I am enough, and so I can choose this. What happens when we stop focusing too much on everything around us and really focus on our own joy, our own responsibility for serving our purpose, our own responsibility for choosing our wellness? What happens to those around me when I focus on being better? Do they seek to be better? Do I give them the opportunity to do that by doing it for myself first? Can I breathe deeply in and release the need to worry about all of the external factors and variables in life? Can I set down the need to have all the answers and instead surrender to connecting to God, to Source, to knowing my truth within, so that I operate from my higher self as opposed to from fear? How can I operate from a space of abundance and trust today rather than fear? How can I operate from a space of abundance and trust today instead of fear? Breathe deeply in. Exhale, letting go. Just be present here. Breathe deeply in. Exhale, letting go. Good. Breathe deeply in, connecting to your breath. Just being present. Just Just sitting with these incredible insights that are here for you today. Exhale, letting it all go. Breathe deeply in, really receiving connection to source, really opening up, expanding within. Exhale, letting go of any thought patterns and loops that want to run, that do not align with your higher self. Let's do one more final breath. Breathe deeply in. And exhale, letting go. Whew. That was a much needed one for me. I feel much better, much more grounded, which is good. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? I hope that this helped you find your own center today. I hope that it at least brought some awareness for you around what you're choosing and how that's impacting your day. And maybe how you're navigating this time in our world right now. And so I would love to hear anyone share about any of their experiences with what's going on in the world. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? And what are you experiencing that has made this time challenging? And what are you doing about it? I'd love to hear that in the comments. If you do watch this, whether it is right now or whether it is another time, I'm so grateful you spent time today. I love you all so very much. And I hope you know today and always, the most important thing you can ever know, of all the things there are to know, is to know your worth.